Alright, we're moving on to the Megamis, which is Japanese for goddess. The highest level one is Scathach. I could not find her in my resources under that name, though she appears as Scantha. And according to that, there was a short description of her that she was a warrior maid who taught Cuchulainn and others about the art of war. And she lives in the so-called Land of Shadows. So that's basically all I could find of her. Most of the descriptions are really brief, some are actually very broad, and occasions I couldn't find anything at all. So if you do find anything extra, just tell me. I wouldn't mind that. Let's see, for the next one, Laksmi. She was one of the deities that is said to have been born from the event called the churning of the Sea of Milk. When the gods tried to bring back the divine food Amrita, a lot of things were lost as well. She was one of the things that emerged from that process. And basically, it sounds not too dissimilar from Aphrodite's birth in Greek myth, as she was born from sea foam. She is usually depicted as a lotus goddess, and often she is reincarnated to be the wife of Vishnu's incarnation, as she was reborn with Rama, Krishna, etc. Alright, Sati, she was one of the lovers of Shiva, and according to the myth about her, she was invited to a sacrifice with the gods, but Shiva was not invited. So one example is that she threw herself into the fire, or she actually burned herself by the power of her own purity. Either way, she basically died and was reborn again as Parvati. There is also a strange term that appears. Sati has been adopted as a term for widows, who basically throw themselves on their dead husband's funeral fires to basically join them in the afterlife, so to speak. So that was adopted into practice. Sarasvati was actually originally the wife of Vishnu, but after having so many wives, he decided to give her to Brahma, and because of that, Brahma actually grew extra heads, so he can actually see her all the time. Sarasvati is a goddess of rivers, but she was also credited for inventing music, the holy language Sanskrit, etc., which is why she's usually associated with the languages and sciences. Also, she was adopted into Japanese myth, which is why I'm surprised her name isn't Benten, which is the goddess of the sea, and an adoption into Japanese culture via Buddhism. And finally, Uzume. Uzume was actually the person that helped lure out Amaterasu when she held herself up in a cave. So what the gods did was they hung a mirror from a tree, and Uzume started dancing, and the gods started creating such a commotion that Amaterasu peeked out. The mirror reflected the light, and thus light was brought back into the world, and they later pulled her out and sealed the cave. So Uzume is basically, her whole name is in fact Ameno Uzume. So she is the goddess of dance, and I think of fortune, perhaps. So that just about does it for the Megamis. I'll just finish this here.